10 things you must do before the next Minecraft update. Hello there, Ray here, and with every new version of Minecraft means things are changed. Some things are added and some things are removed. But luckily, I spent the last 15 years finding the craziest rares and tricks that can be done with these changes so you don't have to. The first rare that you want to collect in your world before updating is a discontinued mob. The way you make this mob is just by finding a skeleton variation that is able to pick up items, and then give the skeleton any type of sword. Because in the next Minecraft version, skeletons will no longer pick up swords, but instead will only trade out their weapon for a better bow. If you're really into collecting rares, you can also go for a stray variation of this, or even using the new bogged. But when it comes to the skeleton type, the wither skeleton, they already have a sword, so they will only pick up a better sword than the one that they are holding. But if you're willing to upgrade your world to this snapshot here, you can actually get a wither skeleton to pick up a bow. This is really unique and is the only time in the game that this is possible, and they even have this secret ability to shoot out flame arrows despite there being no flame enchantment on their bow. And after some more testing, I found another weird rare mob. And that is a zombie who is holding a armor that is stronger than the one he's actually wearing. The way you make these guys is you first give them a normal type of armor that is unenchanted. Usually darker color is easier to see. Then the zombie will put it on, and then you give them an enchanted version of it. It can be any type of enchantment. I just put some unbreaking on this one. And then once you give it to the zombie, he's not going to switch out his armor like he's supposed to because this one is stronger, but instead he'll actually just hold it in its hand. This mob becomes discontinued because in the next update, as soon as you give them a enchanted version of the armor, what they're going to do is put it on, and then they're going to hold the unenchanted version. So if you look closely, you can see that there is a little enchantment on that piece, but there's no enchantment on this piece. And you can get this type of rare on any mob that can hold items in their hand as well as equip them on their body. Now you can also get it on a zombified piglin, but it's a little bit more complicated. First we had to get a piglin with a crossbow in a boat with the player and have him constantly try to shoot the player, because every time the piglin shoots, it does damage to its actual crossbow. So if we look at the damage here, we can see it says 48, and then after it shoots a while, if you check it, now you can see it's got damage 66. So once the piglin uses up all its durability on its crossbow, it will break, so it has nothing in its hands. And if it has the can pick up loot tag, that means it can pick up armors like our unenchanted chestplate. But the only problem is it won't pick up the enchanted version, hold it in its hand, because the piglins are broken like the old zombies used to be, where they can never hold any armor in their hands because they're trying to wear it, and he already is wearing something. But next thing we want to do is bring this guy to the overworld. So once we go ahead and bring him over into the overworld, you will then convert over into a zombified piglin. And these zombie variations can go ahead and pick up stuff and hold it in their hand. And just like that, we can get the guy to hold an enchanted version of the chestplate in their hand while actually wearing a worser version of it on themselves. As you can normally not do this with a zombified piglin because they're always holding a gold sword. Now something that looks similar but isn't actually a rare is giving them a lower tiered armor piece but has a curse of binding enchantment, meaning he can't actually switch it out. So when I do give him something that's a higher tier, he'll just have to end up holding it. So this is not a rare, and that's why we want to have the hand piece enchanted and the piece being worn being unenchanted. Leave a like on the video for the hundreds of hours of testing I have to do in order to put these lists together. But besides things that become impossible to get, like the discontinued mobs, there is things that become harder that you want to take advantage of before updating. Like this trick of trading villagers without them ever locking up. Now this type of infinite villager trading trick was originally shown by us way back in early 2019, and only later was re-shown by other people, some of which did not give proper credit, and others even tried to take credit themselves. But the trick is getting nerfed in the next version. So what this helps you with is actually trading with villagers more than 2 times a day. Now typically when you trade these guys, once they run out of things to buy or sell, they'll lock up with this little X. But if you want to do a whole bunch of trading, you don't want to be stopped. And that's where our cool trick comes into play. So all I'm going to do is open up the villager's trade screen and then move the villager into unloaded chunks, which I can easily do just by moving me out of this area so that as soon as I go through this portal, this area will immediately unload. But as you will see, the trade screen will stay there. So let me just go ahead and open this trapdoor, click on the villager, get washed through the portal. Now I'm over here at the main end island where the dragon's normally at, and you can see the villager screen is still here. At this point, I can come in and buy as many items as I want, but the trades will still appear to lock up. But the lock is actually not there. If I go ahead ahead and go back to where the villager is, which is over here. Go ahead and turn off that water. And if we look at the villager, we can see it never actually locked up the bell. And it actually never even progressed its little XP bar. This is especially helpful when you're trying to do a bunch of trades for something that you have a lot of, but the villager normally will only accept so many per day. You can automate this setup further than what I have, but all I have is just a small little opening here. And then on this side, I just have a trap door to go ahead and put the player in crawling mode, as well as some blocks to hold in this villager so we can keep doing tons and tons of trades. But moving the villager over into the end dimension just to do an infinite amount of trades is quite annoying, but this can also be done anywhere just by unloading the chunk that the villager is inside of, which is based off the simulation distance of your single player world or multiplayer server. So all I have to do is hop in this cart here, push this button, and then open the villager's trade. And then we're going to get moved away back a total of 6 chunks so that the villager is completely unloaded. At this point, we can go ahead and do as many trades as you want. And even though it will appear that all these are getting locked up, once we go ahead and exit the trade and then move ourselves back towards the villager, we'll now see that the villager will give us all our XPs, and if we check the trades, actually none of them got locked, and it's like we never even traded with the villager. This trick no longer works because when you try to move yourself away from the villager's trading screen will close. So do all your excessive villager trading before updating. Now, another trick that got removed in this next version has to do with the player having invulnerability once they log back into the game for a short period. This is quite useful if you're about to die, especially on your hardcore world. You can just log out, and then when you log back in, you're not going to take any damage from pretty much anything. Doesn't matter if it's massive hit from a warden, falling into lava, an excessive explosion, you will take no damage. And even if you catch it on fire, you can wait until the fire is removed without taking any damage just by constantly relogging. So make sure to tell your hardcore Minecraft friends not to use this trick anymore because they will definitely die now. Have you subscribed to the channel yet? But is there anything you should do now in order to prepare to get the new pale garden biome? Well, this new biome will generate in new chunks, so it could just help to avoid traveling to new areas, especially places that have the same humidity and temperature as the dark oak forest, because the new biomes generate in a similar place. But when the update does come out, you don't even need to come to this biome in order to get all the new types of blocks and items. That's because wandering traders will actually sell the flowers, the pale hanging moss, as well as the pale moss blocks, and the new sapling for these new trees. And you can take the wandering trader's open eye blossom and place it down during the daytime in order to change it into a closed eye blossom. The moss from the wandering trader can then be placed down, and then it can be bone milled in order to get more moss, as well as the new moss carpets, which can be bone milled themselves in order to make this little climbing piece of moss. And if you get 4 saplings from the wandering trader and place them down, and this will get you the new pale oak logs as well as the new leaves. And then the logs can be crafted down into all the new types of wood, blocks, and items. But one thing you cannot get is the creaking heart, because in order to craft it up, you will need to have a block of resin. And to get a block of resin, you'll need to have a creaking heart. But the trees that you plant by the player will never actually generate with any creaking hearts inside of them. So to get your first creaking heart, you'll have to come to the pale garden biome, hit one of these creaking mobs, and then that will lead you to where their heart is sitting at. And then once you have silk touched the actual block, you can then go back to your base and use logs with the creaking heart to spawn in your very own creaking mob, which when you hit it, will then create resin on the nearby blocks, and then you can collect this resin clumps, smelt it into bricks, which can then be crafted into all the different types of blocks. You can even make automatic resin farm as I showed in this video here, and look forward to my upcoming block by block tutorial on it. Otherwise, you can actually get your very first resin from coming into a mansion and going into one of the chests, like the secret ones that are over here. And once you get 9 resin clumps, you can make the heart. But you'll eventually want to come to this biome because bone milling this biome gets you eye blossoms. So you can come in and build my automatic eye blossom farm. To see all the changes that came out with the winter drop, check out my snapshot review videos in this playlist here. Now click here to see more crazy rares in Minecraft. And if you have Amazon Prime or Twitch Prime or know of someone that does have it, make sure to use it each and every month to subscribe to have Twitch pay me in full, where it doesn't cost you anything extra. You do have to manually renew, but it's a great way to support me for no extra cost. You can learn how to easily do this with the link in the description. It also comes with tons of perks like getting your name here at the end, so I'm really grateful for everyone who does it. And as always, bye bye!